Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the National Press Theatre. May I kindly remind you to switch off cell phone and Blackberries. Today we have New Democrat fisheries and ocean critic Finn Donelley, who's going to discuss a campaign to save wild salmon. He's accompanied today by, Chief Bob Chamberlain. And on the phone we have William Shatner and biologist Alexandra Morton. They're going to make a statement, and then we're going to take some questions. Mr. Donelley?
Thank you. I'm Finn Donelley. I'm the Member of Parliament from New Westminster, Coquitlam, and Port Moody. I'm also the New Democrats Fisheries and Oceans critic. I'm joined by phone by Canadian film and television icon William Shatner, and also a big salmon advocate. And also on the phone is well-known salmon activist and biologist Alexandra Morton. Here with me is Chief Bob Chamberlain, or Owadi, from the First Nation of Quikwatsutinuk Hwachmis, which is in the Broughton Archipelago. We are here today because we share one thing in common. We want to protect wild salmon, and we want to send a message to the Government of Canada that they need to pay attention to what's happening in the waters off Canada's west coast to our wild salmon. The federal government will assume responsibility for the management and regulation of aquaculture in the Pacific region later this year. Wild salmon are part of our Canadian fabric, but they're in serious trouble. They face many threats, including sea lice from fish farms, and we need to do everything we can to protect wild salmon. That's why I recently introduced a private member's bill to strengthen the Fisheries Act. This legislation would do three things. First, it would require fish farm operators on BC's west coast to move to closed containment within 5 years of the bill becoming law. Second, the bill directs the Fisheries Minister to develop, table, and implement within 18 months a transition plan outlining how fish farm operations would make that transition. And finally, it ensures that those working in the industry would be protected during this transition. New Democrats believe environmental protection must coexist with economic prosperity. In fact, British Columbia's and indeed Canada's well-being depends on it. Now I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Shatner, who will make a brief statement. Mr. Shatner?
Yes, good morning. I'm here because of my deep concern, not only for British Columbia and the wildlife there, but for wildlife all over the world. And we're seeing right now, we're standing by watching a catastrophe of enormous, unknown potential in the Gulf right now. And it is all our duty, all concerned people of the world, let alone concerned citizens of Canada, to harbor our resources and to make them whole and to keep them from being desecrated. Having said that, I also want to speak about my relationship with Mr. Donelley. I do not know him. I was contacted by mutual friends who are concerned about the British Columbia salmon, and I have not read the bill C-518, but my opinion is that anybody who's trying to do something about as basic a species as salmon must be listened to. And if something positive can come from Mr. Donelley's bill, I urge everybody within the hearing to help with it. My history with the fish of British Columbia really stems from some filming that I did a few years ago, in which I came to the northern part of Vancouver Island and went into the interior, and as a result, not only learned and saw firsthand the beauty of British Columbia, but saw how and was lectured on how this basic species, salmon, feed and nurture not only the animals that are on the land, but the sea as well, and as well as the plants and trees and shrubbery. So the fauna and the flora of the British Columbia river shores and rivers are nurtured by the salmon. Without the salmon, they die. And when they die, a huge rent in the tapestry of nature in that area. It is a basic species that must be saved. My rage is against companies that have no conscience about what they're doing, and that the bottom line is the only thing they think of. What we must do is ensure that the farmed salmon do not destroy the wild salmon, and there are ways of doing it much better known by experts than I, but we must do it. And so, as a father and a grandfather whose wish that my offspring live to see the same things I did, the wildlife and the wilderness, brings me to talk to you this afternoon. And I have nothing really else to say, because all the questions that you might ask me are better answered by experts. All I can tell you is my concern is that of every person who lives in Canada, and especially in British Columbia. And I thank you for listening to me, and I hope something positive can take place as a result of Mr. Donelley's bill.